I'm beginning to see the markets as being quite bullish in terms of the banks and the resources for Australia. The weakness in the economy really is the tech stocks and the consumer discretionaries, and they still need to push down further. So I'm just going to look at more of the bullish side today. So not quite the right time to go long just yet, so we won't get carried away. We still need a setup. So we've got the ASX 200 here on the monthly chart, and there's two ways to look. Well, there's probably more really, but looking at this particular pattern from this 2008 GFC situation. Now, counting 5 waves up here is a little bit problematic because wave 4 overlaps wave 1 here, so that's a bit of an issue, but we do have a nice set of 5 waves here. The other way to look at this, of course, is to look at this as an A and a B and a C wave for an A wave here, and then a B wave and then a C wave up here. So a larger, if I can just see this 2-month chart here, 2 months. Yeah, a little bit like this here. This would be the other way to look at it, but it still doesn't really sort of change much. It still just gives us further upside with all of this. So obviously, one of the other sort of interesting things here is this particular high here, and here and here. So really, in a way, we're actually finding support on this current high in this way, in this fashion, you know. So I think that's kind of interesting. I'm just going to go back to my monthly chart here. So I'm thinking that, in a bit of a nutshell, with this move up through here, we still need to come back as an ABC and then sort of push up again at that point, which would be in line with what we're kind of looking at with the S&P 500. And not only that as well, this particular move up through here, if we just go to the daily chart, the so just looking at the top here, there's a couple of different ways we've been looking at this particular top, and I'll just sort of run through them. One of them, which I kind of like really, is that we look at this here as the A wave, the B wave, the C wave, the D wave, and the E wave for wave 4, or even a wave 2 at this point. Now, I have to be careful here because it is possible in a lot of markets that we look at this as an A and a B and a C and have a top in here. And we, you know, come further down through here, but that's not what I'm seeing with the banks, and this pulling down here is not really what I'm seeing with the banks or the resources. And once we go in and have a look at those, then even if you don't trade resources or the banks and you're just an index trader, I think it's important to look at this. The other thing I wanted to talk about as well is that in this little box here, I've got BL here, which is bullish. So I'm going to use this as a bit of a standard template. I haven't done all the charts across everything just yet, but I've made a bit of a start. But just to let you know that the BL here, so 20 for the bullish count. I'm going to look at bullish counts and bearish counts, and unless it's really obvious and it's only one or the other, but 20k and 10k, and the 10k I'm really going to use for any alternative counts that I've got on the bullish side, and sometimes the bearish count, and then 5k, and then the bearish count will be 50k and 1k, so that's their ticks, so 50,000 ticks and 1,000 ticks, and then I also work with the 100 tick as well. So with this particular market, I was using the 4 hour before and the 1 hour, but I'm going to change that now, and this will eventually become standard through all the charts. It will just take me a while to get all of that happening, but it'll give us a better sort of template to work with. So just coming back to this here for a moment. Now, this move that's coming down through here, it counts quite nicely as 5 waves coming down as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There is a little bit of a problem with it, and this is also on the XJO as well, is that this five-wave structure here. We've got this little wave 4 overlapping with wave 1 coming down here. So we could look at this as a corrective pattern, but I don't think it's going to make any difference because I'm looking for an A wave, a B wave, and a C wave to come down here. And this will basically give us our setup. We'll go in and talk about this a bit further. So we'll look for this basically this ABC pattern here, and then I think that we're going to go up. This is what I'm looking at the S&P, but this is also what we're looking at with BHP, Rio, FMG, what's another one, Newcrest Mining, and so on, too, slightly different, but basically this five-wave structure up here is really what we're looking at. So if I just, as an example here, where's, let me find, I thought Newcrest was somewhere around here. I'm probably looking at it, but can't see. There we go. So this is quite a good picture, really, just to take on board of resources and just the general gist of the markets, really, because we're looking at 1 and 2 here, then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for the third wave, fourth wave, and then 1, 2, and then 3, 4, 5 up here, and then pulling back for this ABC here. Now, of course, and I'm just using this as an example because it's a nice clean situation. So if we look, it might push up even higher. I don't know, but you know, you can. What I wanted to point out here is that we can pull back into this space roughly here. You know, we'll look at the gold market a bit soon, but in a nutshell, finishing off up here and then coming back down into here and then moving. That will give us 5 waves. That will give us 5 waves in the opposite direction of this trend. So that's a turning point in the market. And the other point too really is that we know that on Friday in the US, the jobs report was bad news, but that's good news for inflation. So there is a bit of fresh air coming through on that front. Is that stable? Obviously not. Jerome Powell speaks tomorrow. He'll probably just say they're going to, you know, keep focus. They really want to get that interest rate down. They've been pretty sort of clear about that. So, though, you know, they might ease it a little bit, but they're still going to hold them up there higher for longer. But the other thing for Australia as well is that, as you know, is that China is opening their doors, and some of our resources and other industries, you know, are in the process of reopening. So that's also some fresh air coming through as well, you know. So there is that sort of bullishness, just sort of hovering in there. So we need to try to pick that up in the wave count. So if we go to, let's just go to the bearish count first, and then we'll go to the bullish count. So it'll be 50K and then 1K. So here we'll be looking at more of the bearish count. So the bearish count would be looking at this market in terms of an A wave here, an A, B, C for the B wave, and then down coming down here for wave C, so an A and a B and a C. Now, we can't rule that out, of course. That's quite possible. And then if we look at this here on the 1K tick chart, let me just get a bit more data in here for this, and we'll talk about the elephant in the room. So here we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here. So it counts quite nicely as a 5-wave structure. The only problem is wave 4 overlaps wave 1. Now I see this overlap a lot with this market, so I'm not that fussed about it, but it does put a spanner in the works. It does mean that we could count this as an A, B, C for the A wave here, a B wave here, and a C wave here, and then just continue straight up there. But that's not what we want to see for the S&P 500, because this is the S&P 500 here. If I can just go back to, well, I could just cut through to its bullish count at 20K. Here for a moment. So this situation here for the S&P 500 is the same. We've had 5 waves down, and we're looking for some sort of ABC to pull back here. Jerome Powell's comments tomorrow, the 61.8% is at the 4,000. So we're looking for this ABC pattern here for wave 2 to pull back. So that's kind of what I'm thinking about the ASX as well, in that regard. So yeah. So on the bearish count here, this is kind of interesting because we are seeing, as far as I can see to the upside here, we've got 1 and 2 and wave 3 and 4. Catherine gave me that count, so thank you, Catherine. That's correct. And then we're looking up here, probably 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for 1, 2, and 3 and 4. So we're going to push higher up here. So in this case, that's going to leave us 5 waves here. Now, if we get 5 waves here, that means that we'll get a correction for a B wave and then another C wave up. It's possible to probably also count this here as the A wave, the B, an A wave, ABC for the A wave, a B wave, and a C wave here. That's possible in that count, but it just looks better as a 5-wave structure. But we'll just see how that plays out a little bit. Obviously, if this top gets taken out here, then we'll be more bullish at that point. But like I said, when we looked at Newcrest mining, we can see that needs to top. It will take about 4 or 5 days to top that there, and we've got to look at Rio and FMG and all of those guys too. They're all in the same sort of boat. But there is a reasonable 5 waves down here. Like I said, there is a problem with it, but yeah, so we'll just sort of see. It's going to be a little bit sort of tricky on that side. So when we look at the bullish count going to 20k here, okay, we've got the whole thing up here. So basically 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 to this point. The A, the B, the C, the D, the E here. I think that counts quite nicely like that. Some of the banks and other things didn't make a new low here. Not that this really made a new low. It had that double bottom much there. But basically, in a nutshell here, we're counting 5 waves up here. And then we're going to be looking for the A wave, the B wave, and the C wave back into this particular space. And then we'll look for wave 3 up there. Now, will this occur coming up here? Well, I don't know. I mean, we've got to get through this first, don't we? We've got to take one step at a time. We can have some fun and look to short in here. I'm not that interested in going long into this particular space here. And if I've made a mistake and we're going to go straight up from here, then we'll look for a classic trading levels pattern on this old high here. Going to go to the, I'm not going to go to the 10. I don't think there's much on there. So the 5 here. So this was the other way to look at it as well here. Not that interesting really, but having the A wave here, the B wave here, and the C wave here for wave 2. Anyway, I'll keep an eye on that. That doesn't really matter. So we'll just go into 100 ticks and just look at any details we need to pick up here. I haven't finished this off, but a nice 5-wave structure here as such as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for the 3rd wave, 4th, 5th. So we can put that there. That's all good. Like I said, the only situation with this is that we could look at this as the A, the B. Well, we'd have to look at this as the A, B, C pattern here for the A wave here. But anyway, as far as this goes, we're going to still be pushing higher here. This number up here is going to be about sort of it at this point. Is there a different way we could count this? Can we go 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 here? Possible, because this is really giving good form here. And what I mean by form is you can see how this is quite clear, this up and down here, where these ones are quite small. This one seems bigger. So it's like this is acting as a 3rd wave here. So it is possible that we could continue to go higher, but yeah, I mean, I would rather be long than short, put it that way, but I wouldn't overtrade either on that. Okay, so yeah, let's just have a look at, oops, I'll just put this back and put it away the other way. So this is, the ASX is driven, there's more volume traded in the banks than there is in the resources, but when they both move together, then it's sort of helpful, and I kind of see them moving together in their sort of own ways a little bit. So this is, it doesn't look like it, does it? I'll just have a little look here, just to put this on. It is on log scale. I thought it looked a bit odd, but the price didn't look there. So, yeah, I thought this was quite interesting actually. It's one of the things I noticed, this is an IG platform here that I'm working with. But when I looked on TradingView for for a lot of the stocks, they sort of do it differently. Obviously, there's different prices, and it just works out a bit differently. So you see this high here, it never made it above this high here, but it did always have a nice little 5 waves there, and it gave a nice ABC here as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But when you have a look at TradingView here, this is TradingView here, you can see this sharp high here is way above this one here. Do you know what I mean? So if I just go back again, you see this high here is lower than this one, but so it just depends on how each charting program does their what they, you know, if they include dividends or they don't, and all these sorts of things, or do any price adjustments and things. So, but this one here is way higher than this, you know, it's quite seriously. But the interesting thing I find about this, though, is that if it does make a nice 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here for this, then we've got this correction. So that means that this whole move here that we can also count in 5 waves, it's unfinished, you know. It's just another leg of something else here. So that's why I feel that we're bullish for CBA and the banks and the ASX in that regard as well. So yeah, this would have to be, I could count this differently, but whichever way you want to count it, you're still left with the fact at the end of the day that we've got this 5-wave structure here that we'll need to look as wave 1 and 2 here. Either an ABC here for wave 2, and or we have wave 2 over here, but I don't think that's the case. I think it's more here. For this, you can see that it's in 3 waves here, but it doesn't really give you a nice ABC correction, but it is in a bit of an odd way, an ABC correction here. So the question is now is that, do we look at this as 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 up here for this? Or do we look at this as 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 here and continuing to build to the upside? I think one of the important things here to also note as well is that we have to ask ourselves, what's the closest largest number, and is the market at support? And if it is support, what is support, you know? And support to me is where the market trades above the level and then comes back and retests it. So it has moved above the level and come back and tested it, or is in the process of testing it. So that's kind of interesting that it's tested, because we would normally look to go long above here. That would be the right thing to do because it's tested. We don't chase it through because we know it's coming back. So I think that what we need to do now, we know that this particular leg here is sort of all out there on its lonesome. So it's got to be wave 1 and 2. So we should be pushing up further, and now that it's retested this, taking out the top would trigger the longer term long trades on all of this. So we need to go in and have a bit of a look at this situation. So let me just see, I don't think I've got anything on the weekly here. Okay, well this is it here then. So wave 1 here with an A wave. So counting from here as 1, 2, 3, 4 here, and then up for 5, 1, 2, 3, A, B, C for 4, and up for 5 for 1, and A, and A, B, C for the B wave, and then 1, 2, 3, put it in here as down into here. Now it's never counted very nicely as 5 waves here, so that's a bit of a catch here. So that means that still, you know, for this to be a trade, we need to take that top out. But I think we can get a little bit closer in there, and I just need to go and investigate this. And now this is also important for the ASX200. So this is on the daily chart here, and because I noticed on the XXJ that the move down here is in 3 waves so far. I don't need to go into the XXJ today, but we'll look at that during the week to help confirm things. Now, the situation here is that this is the A wave, this is the B wave, and this is the C wave. Now, normally you would go along above the top, then we would bring it down to the B wave here. Okay, so that's one step forward. Now, it is possible to say we've got this completely wrong and we've got a B wave up here and we're in a bearish mode. This would be down for one, back for two, down for one, back for two, and then coming down here further. So we've got to be careful about what we do in here and how we go along here, because it's not confirmed as three waves yet. It's not validated as this. It can certainly push up and move back down here. So we need to be mindful of that. We're going to have a look at the bullish counts on 20 and maybe 5 here or so. So I've got this here as being this is a full trade, this is a part trade here, and probably the reason I put that there or thought about it was because if I took this top and this bottom here, that's at the 61.8%. So really, from that top, if this was going to fail, then it really shouldn't go much. It shouldn't go back above that point. It's been pushed down, and that should be it. So we could go long at that point. I don't think I've got anything on 10. I'll just have a quick look. No, there's nothing new there. 5. Let's just go to. Just have a look. What we've got on. Okay, so this lays it out a bit clearer here. So in the other market, I had this as a orange wave A and an orange wave B and an orange wave C here. So it doesn't really matter. We've still got the same sort of thing. The point being here is that we do have a nice from wave B here. First of all, from the top, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's pretty clear. Then we've got our nice corrective wave here. And then we've got little 5 waves here, and then 2 here, and we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here for this. So it's a nice 5-wave structure here, but the interesting thing here is it looks like we've got 5 waves up here. Now, I don't know, this little move in here is corrective, so we should push up here. So you could probably, or just keep that a bit smaller. So you could probably look for a trade just coming in off the top here for this. Let's just go to 100 ticks. Probably haven't updated anything in here, but oh yeah, I have. So let me just get a bit more data in here. Okay, so this is where we are. So I've got this as 1 and 2 and ABC here for 2. So it's possible that we could push up from here. I mean, it looks, I haven't pulled this apart, but it looks like, feels like 5 waves. This looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, okay, we could come down here for wave 2. That would be wave 1 coming down here. That would be 2. That would be 3, 4, and 5 here, and then ABC. So we could probably open up a little bit higher and then come down. So just be careful about that. But anyway, I just thought that was sort of interesting, looking at the banks. Well, just one bank being bullish in that regard. And coming over to BHP as well. So when we looked at Newcrest mining here, if we just come back here for a second, Newcrest mining here, this structure up here of 5 waves, I think that's where iron ore is. I think iron ore is a little bit more advanced than this and turning a bit. But this 5-wave structure is pretty common through everything. So this is what we're looking at here with this 5 waves. So I think that we've got 5 waves coming up here somewhere, and then we're going to be pulling back. And yes, that can be a top, and we could end up down here, but I'm thinking it's more like this. And this kind of gives us the same as CBA in a way as well, with 1 and 2 here and 1 and 2. I've got a fair bit to talk about with BHP, RIO and FMG, but I might do that during the week a little bit. But I'll just go to the bullish side of things more so here. So let's just go into this. That's to 1 day. So this is what I'm thinking here, just to get your sort of bearings here a little bit. So a bit like Newcrest. So we still need to push up. Now, I don't know how high we're going to go, right? But it doesn't really matter because we're going to get some kind of pattern across this top here, right? So it's this pullback that we want, and we want to just be basically building in all over this side here. Small trades in here somewhere, building bigger trades into this space over here. as we can confirm things. So I think that's kind of interesting at this particular point in time. We'll just have a quick look in here. Same, that sort of ABC pattern. So we don't want to chase it. It makes a nice fourth wave here. I'll just go to 5K. I haven't updated 5. Have I done anything on 1 or 100? No. Anyway, it doesn't matter at this point. This is the monthly chart here. So double tops are never the end of the trend. And so it does look like we're going to be building. We're at $50 at the moment. So it looks like we've got a nice ABC pattern here, doesn't it? You know, 5 waves here, an ABC pattern here, and looking to climb on here and push up at that point. You know, there's still going to be some vibrations around this area through here. I just want to have a look at, while we're here as well, is just have a look at this is US BHP. It's the same thing here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. But yeah, okay, that's what I want to talk about. You see how we're really, like, when we just looked at BHP then, this top here, like we're way above this top here, you know? And this would be 1 and 2 and 3. So I feel like we're pushing up here, you know? Let's go back to this one here. Yeah, you see the difference here. In this case here, there's different charting techniques. This particular one is still like on the top here for this. This move here is corrective. It's in 3 waves, so we will take out that top. And yes, we have taken out that top, but not by much. But then when you have a look at BHP over here, we've really cleared that so much here, you know. So it's how they've been adjusting the charts, obviously. But it does, you know, open up a whole new can of worms. I mean, this is wave 1 and 2 to here, and then this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 here. This is already taken out the top here. Anyway, there's going to be some fluffing around here, but there's going to be further upside here with all of that. I just wanted to point out 2 different types of things here, which become quite important really at some point. So yeah, I'm looking at BHP, Rio, and all these are being very bullish. This is Rio here. So perhaps we'll have more of a closer look at this tomorrow in the bigger picture. But basically wave 1 here with an A and a B and a C here for wave 2. And then pushing up here for 1 and 2. So we don't have to worry too much just yet, but we still need this 5 waves up here, and then we need the pullback at this point. And this is where we'll just study this and we'll get to know that quite well, and hopefully we'll push up. If we get the right setups in there, we need to push up at that. If we get the right setups, we'll get in there. So we need to do a lot more work here. We don't want to go long at the top of the market here, do we? You know, so we'll just wait for that. The alternative is wave 4 rather than wave 2, but yeah, anyway, that's all good at that point. And Fortescue as well. I won't go into a big thing here as well, and I won't even bother going into the intraday here at this point. We'll do that during the week. But all of this up here pushing up for wave 1, the same as gold, as Newcrest mining. So we need this to finish off. So we've got like all of this week to pull up there, and then we need to pull back as well. I mean, obviously this is a good set. This is a classic trading levels pattern set up here. The arrival, the reaction, the first high above the level, didn't drop down below the level, because normally we'd take the long go out here, then we drop down to the B wave. So when we look at the normal classic trading levels pattern here, we'll expect it to drop down here, but this is the variation where it just sits on here. So we start from the top and then we go down to this one. I know it's hindsight, but I'm just saying hindsight's okay as long as we're kind of, reinforcing these sorts of things if you're looking for trade setups, because that's what we'll be looking for this year. We will have the on the new site, we'll be looking at more trade. So I'll be looking at both sides of the market, unless it's really obvious that we're just on one side of the market. But it'd be more so about trade setups this year, about getting into markets. Okay, this is US spot gold here. So as you know, we've got wave B down to wave C, and we've been counting 5 waves up. It's just extending in the 5th wave. That's all I can say at this particular point in time. It'll be the same as Newcrest mining in a way. So we're just looking at 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 for 1 and 2 and 1, 2, 3. So we've got a bit like Newcrest mining. We've got a bit more to go to finish this off here. Now, how far will it extend up? I'm not quite sure, but it should send up. We could reach 2,000. But once again, we'll get that sort of pullback in there for that. That's just Barrick Gold. I don't know what that's doing there, but must have been looking at something. But so this is Newcrest here. So it'll be the same as US spot gold. So we've got 1, 2, and then we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We'll look for the 3rd wave. We'll need the 4th wave and the 5th wave to finish off. Then the ABC pattern. How far will it go up here? I don't know. Take that off. So yeah, that's that. So really, this is fantastic, because we're getting 5 waves here now in the opposite direction of the main trend, which is coming down. So that means that we will be, coming up here, coming back, and then pushing up. How far will we pull back? I don't know. We'll just count the ABC, and then we'll go long on, because we've got 5 waves here, we can go long on the 5th wave of wave C, wherever that may be. So that's very exciting for that. But that's where most of the commodities are as well. So yeah. So that's that. Before we go over to the dollar, I want to have a look. I missed doing the lithium. Now, because China's opening up some of its resources and industries, then I feel like a lot of stocks in that resource sector will move up. Now, this is a really big, either the biggest or the second biggest lithium market there is. So I just wanted to point out a couple of things here, is that you see the angle of this here. This is a weekly chart, by the way. You see the angle of this here? I'm not saying that's the low. I'm saying we're very close to the low, but the angle of this is really, it's like it's reluctantly wanting to go down. And we can also see here too, you see the volume here. You see how, well, apart from a couple of little bars in here, but basically it's been diminishing, isn't it? It's a bit like over here, where it's diminishing here. See, this is moving down and this is diminishing here. It's like nobody wants to sell. So this is going to push up here. So that's going to take all the other lithium stocks with it as well. So I'll just go to Linetown here. Now this is a weekly chart here. It's on log scale. So this is the low here. This is as much data as I've got here for this. So we've come down here, but from this low here, I'm looking at this as 1 and 2, and 1 and 2, because it can't be wave 4 here because it's overlapping too deeply with this. So you need to count it like that. So this one here, I suppose, the best way to count this is 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 here, and then 1 and 2 in here. So this is, and we've got this pulling way back down in here as well, even though it's on log scale. So what I'm saying here is I'm saying that there's a beginning of a trend. This is the beginning here. And then this is the middle of the trend. So we're in the middle here. We haven't got to the ending stages here yet. So this has got much further to go up here yet. I don't worry about the prices I put up here. I'm just getting these out of the way. But, you know, we're only just, this is, you know, this is 1, 2, 3, 4 here and 5 here. So this is some sort of fourth wave here. Now, it could be finished in here, and this can be a little 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 moving up here for wave 1. Just have a look at what I've got on the weekly chart here for this, but this is pulled back in here, right? So this is probably 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 5 here with some sort of ABC pattern in here. So I'm thinking this is ready to move up further. But the thing is that we need to because it's pulled back probably pulled back more than 61.8%, but it's sort of giving us that buying signal there. So we could look at this as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, some sort of ABC pattern here. So we'll focus in on here a little bit more as we go into the week with this. Yeah, so I've got it like this here. So I think it can just push up. So the long trade will, if you get a classic trading levels pattern on the 150, that's where we can go long from. Okay, I'm just going to leave it at that point. I want to get this video out before it's too late. And US dollar here. So we're going to be coming down here in terms of, that's not there yet, 1 and 2 here, and 3 and 4 and 5. We're going to be going down into here for all of this. So we're coming down. So that's going to give commodities a boost. It's also going to see the Australian dollar move up. This is a weekly chart here. So we're looking at all of this here being the A wave here, then an A, B, and C wave here. So we're looking for the Australian dollar to move up, and that's why I'm kind of thinking the S&P 500 will move up as well. This is on the weekly chart here as an A and WXY here, because it doesn't count as 5 waves, an A, an ABC for the B wave, and down for the C wave. We're getting an impulse wave here. But this 5 wave move up here, kind of look at it the same as you would with Newcrest mining in that 5 waves going up. Where are we? Weekly chart here. Daily chart here. So we haven't got to the top of this wave 1 yet. We'll look at this as 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 3 up here, 4 and 5 here. We're not here yet. But what we will focus on is really, we'll try to find the top, you know, we'll try to do the job, but we'll look for this ABC pattern back here, and then we'll push up again from that point. And that's where commodities will go, and the S&P should be on all of this as well. I won't go into the 20, 10 and 1 here with all of this just yet, because going long here will move up, but not for long, do you know what I mean? That's that. And I just wanted to have a quick look at the rates. I haven't seen the rates here. I'll just take that off log scale. Not the monthly. I mean, it's pretty frightening, really, isn't it? It's like we're getting an impulse wave up here for those rates, you know, and we've overlapped here, so this is finished here. So I can see ourselves moving up here higher, but it's just not the monthly chart that I want. It's just really the daily chart here. This is the 2-year government. What's the name? So yeah, I don't have 5 waves up here yet. This 1 and 2 and 1 and 2 in here. But we're just seeing how this looks at the moment. So the wave 4 never really pulled back to where I wanted it to pull back to, you know, because this is the wave 4 here. So we could get this pulling back in here. I'm not sure. I haven't counted that. It's either that, we'll either get that. I'll have to pull that apart a bit further. Yeah, I'll just see how this plays. I mean, wave 4 can go here as an A and a B and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I know there's overlap there, but anyway, we can have it here, we can have it over here. We'll start to study this a little bit more and pull this apart. So we need, but otherwise it's 1 and 2 and moving up higher at that point. So it will be dangerous if we do get 4 to 5, right? And then we get 4 here, back again, and then 5 up. If we get that, then the economy's in a lot of put at that stage, because that will give us 5 waves up there, and that means that we would have a 3. Whoops, Daisy, wrong one. That means we would have a 3-wave move back again at that point, an ABC, and then we'd have enough. Won't go that low, and then back up here for this. But I know with the Feds, basically, they got to keep rates around the 4% to pay off their $30-odd trillion interest, on their debt. They can't pay it off at 2%. That's why they like inflation. It's just smoke and mirrors, really, so they can pay off their debt. So it'd be the same for Australia as well, but we're not as high on the GDP as the US. So I can't imagine them. That's why they want to, they want to fight inflation. That's what they tell you, but really they want to keep their interest rate around the 4% so they can pay off their debt. That's the bottom line of it. So, that's my understanding anyway. Alrighty, sorry for waffling. That's it. Thanks for tuning in. Cheers.